Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you a movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Heist. And this one came out back in 2015. Of course, it stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Robert De Niro, Kate Bosworth, Gina Carano, and Dave Bautista. Along with Morris Chestnut and a couple others, but those are the significant members of the cast in the movie. And this is another movie I just bought while watching, and I've done that a lot lately. But I'd like to think I know what kind of movies I like and would, and based on the cast and the premise, of course, and stuff like that. And I mainly bought this movie and checked it out because of Jeffrey Dean Morgan's involvement. I think he's a very, very fine actor. Of course, he's Negan on The Walking Dead now. He's doing a fine job on that, but I loved him as John Winchester on Supernatural. Still hoping to see him come back on that. And he also enjoyed doing things like Watchmen, and different things like that. And of course, Robert De Niro. He's a very big actor. He's a very credible actor. I haven't seen him in a whole lot of stuff, I'll admit. But from what I have seen, he's like one of the better, older actors nowadays, I think. And then Dave Bautista, he's been getting more roles lately, of course, with Drax and Guardians of the Galaxy and such. So, this movie I thought was pretty good. I don't think it was great, but it definitely had some memorable moments, or at least good bits of acting in this. And the premise of it, I should also explain, is the plot of the film revolves around a casino heist by a sick daughter's father who has to pay for her treatment. And of course, the father is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and his character, he sort of had ties to Robert De Niro's characters, sort of a criminal organization that runs through the casino, helping others laundering money and things like that. But he stepped away from that, but now his daughter needs this very expensive treatment, and, he's very desperate, so he, tries to rob Robert De Niro, and he gets involved with Dave Bautista's character, and, they're gonna, work together on that, except they have very different, objectives and reasons for doing it. With that premise, though, I was kind of eager, because with that, I thought it would bring, some emotional heft to it, or at least an emotional weight to it, and it does at times. The best parts of this movie are when we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan either talking to his daughter, or when it focuses on that situation. Like I say, he's an excellent actor, and he does get a few moments to shine and show that off in this. But the rest of it's sort of something we've seen before. We've seen a lot of heist movies or hostage movies, and that's kind of what this one turns into, because they hijack a bus and they basically hold all these people on the bus as a way, as they keep driving and such. And that was fairly interesting. I mean, there's no memorable hostages on the bus really, besides little twists they throw in at the end. But and eventually, of course, Bautista and Vaughn, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, collide a little bit more on how they're treating them and things like that. And of course, obviously, the police get involved, and they see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. He's very almost military-like in the way he's going about things. And let me see if I can just Okay, so give me a second. Yeah, Gina Carano's character, she's one of the main officers. She starts to sympathize with Vaughn once she finds out more about him. And that part was pretty good, too. And Morris Chestnut, he makes a pretty good hitman, I guess. And eventually a couple of the other members they had involved with the heist, they start to sort of regret going about all of it like that. But Vaughn just wants to find any way out of it he can so he can get back and pay for his daughter's treatment. And the ending is a little bit far-fetched, but we've seen this kind of thing go down movies before with, like I said, Gina Carano's character sympathizing with them, and eventually they sort of let Vaughn slip through the cracks at the end. And we do have a good moment between Vaughn and Robert De Niro's character, the Pope. Robert De Niro's character, at first he comes off like a straight up bad guy, but he has a couple scenes with his daughter that sort of give him a little bit more depth, and I like those as well. And it sort of plays into how Robert De Niro acts at the end, when Morris Chestnut does have Jeffrey Dean Morgan, JDM, pinned down. The Pope ends up shooting him once Chestnut mentioned, finding his daughter and, hurting her or something. I was just like way lower than even, a guy like Robert De Niro would go. His character, I mean. So I thought that ending was actually pretty cool, and again, really good acting between Morgan and De Niro here. And they sort of relate to each other, they sort of parallel in a way, and I found that to be, pretty nicely shown, at least by the end of it. And the action, the action's alright. There's no like great action sequence or anything like that, unfortunately. But when it does focus on the characters, it is a pretty solid movie, I think. And there are a couple intense sequences, not action oriented necessarily, just like the way, when they have the hostages pinned down and stuff, and one of their guys is injured and such. Things like that have a decent intensity to them. But other than that, it's alright as far as that goes. And like I said, I like the ending with Pope shooting Chestnut and Vaughn being allowed to get away, and Gina Carano and the others sort of let Vaughn slip through the cracks, and he does manage to pay for his daughter's treatment, we're left to believe. So that was pretty good. So yeah, overall, this is a pretty good movie. I wasn't blown away by it or anything, but it does have some good character moments and a few scenes where actors like Morgan and De Niro are given a chance to show their acting chops a little bit. So this isn't really a waste of time. I'd probably rate it like a B- or so. And I know I've had other movies I've rated higher that wouldn't seem like I would have. But for the past few weeks, I've been trying to be a little bit more tough when it comes to my ratings. But I'd give this one at least a B-. I know you guys love it if you've seen it. It's worth a watch, I think. I bought it for like I don't know, I think it was around like $7 or $10 or something like that. I think it was worth it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.